What's good? What's good? I didn't realize this jumped off and started. You see, Black Fight Fan done took it too far now. Damn, which one of this is this? Black Fight Fan done took it too far, took it way too far. See, it ain't enough now. Hold on one second. Y'all just give me a little bit of patience real quick. Got to do something real quick. All right, sorry about that. Back in here. All right. Man, ain't that about a mug that what's going on, everybody? Man, Black Fight Fan TV has now, he went from Lomachenko being white Jesus to now he's God. He has elevated the great European fighter to the level of omnipotent, all-powerful being, the creator of the universe, the source of all prosperity, is now a Ukrainian. You must love it, man. You have to see, man. It's okay. See how crazy it got, right? That blasphemy, ancestor raised. I'm trying to tell you, you are now the descendant of a Ukrainian. You should go when you pray, you are praying to a Ukrainian. Ooh, man, wow. What's going on? Marcus Lewis said, hi, I got him today. Yay, man. We get him all the time on that Lomachenko, man. He's hard. Hey, he's just, you know how it is. Black just real hard. He just real hard-headed. Man, that's going to be, dog. Seriously, when Lomachenko lose, what you going to do? Oh, I'm sorry. When Lomachenko lose again, what you? Because I was gonna say when he loses again, what's he gonna do? But let me say what's up to everybody in the chat before we get into the subject of this video, dog. Eddie Hearns, Eddie, what's going on, Black? What's going on, my man? 78 in the building, man. He said we have to save our brother Black Fight Fan TV before he bleaches his skin. I'm taking donation. No skin. Hey, dog, I saw he had some color contacts on. I thought it was the light at first, but I think he's trying to gradually fade to those blue contacts because his eyes just look like a little light brown, dog. You know how you can tell? Trying to tell you, I hope he doesn't go to the skin bleach, but I did notice his eyes were like a little lighter shade of brown, like that first level of brown when you put your contacts on, he's going to try to eventually shift to blue so he can be blue-eyed like he want them blue eyes. That's what he want. That's what he really likes about Lom. He likes some blue eyes. Robert Walker in the building. What's going on? I'm B Brown. Marcus the Villain. Goalkeeper 3000. What's going on? D21519. What's happening? Joseph Townsend, Denard Ruiz, St. Cruisin, Sheldon Holmes, what's good? Syndicate J, Marcus the Villain, Jamal L, Nassim the Dream, salute to you too, sir. Carl Cooper, and Jeff the producer, salute. What's good? Kennedy Linder, salute. Matthew Valentine, as always, good to see you, sir. Always good to see you. Lauren Bevel, Jay Good in the building. Gregory Wyatt, let's smash that like button, slash that like button. What's good to everybody out here? We grab like 4 or 5 people. If I didn't say your name, you know I'm happy to see you as usual off of a long weekend of running around. Sunny Boxing Talk, man. What's good? I ain't seen you in a minute, man. Nelson Nobles, what's good? What's good? All right, let's get into this, man. Let's get into this. And what's up to everybody else? Quest X in the building. What's blazing in sports? Yes, sir. Oh, man, it's always good to see you, Sonny's Boxing Talk. What about GGG? Talking about GGG today? Man, what is there to say? He beat up another guy that had no chance. What was there to watch? I mean, he didn't look very good, and then he caught him, man. He hit him with a nice straight left, knocked his senses. He was tailor-made for him, you know? We can't expect, him to lose to a guy like that. He's a world-class fighter. But yeah, that's pretty much, I agree with Kennedy Linder. It's like, what did you expect? Once a fight was made, you knew what it was. I think that fight was kind of like Canelo Alvarez fighting Rocky Fieldhand. Sosa Moore Wilder is the only guy that right hand is from Thor. Hey man, let me tell you something, man. This is what I wanted to talk about in this live stream. Because I'm seriously harping on this. I know I'm harping on this AJ thing. But because what's going on, Cool Key? Sosa Moore, man, Lomo versus Toyota Corolla. You know Mr. Caesar what the deal is. Emmanuel Joseph Bain said, Fanon, great work on the contracts Patreon this morning. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Emmanuel. By the way, man, I did just so you know, it's kind of like I'm just talking about it in the car, but I gave an overview of contracts. I talked about offers, acceptance, consideration. I talked about damages, and I try to get people to understand what it is, whether it has to be or whether it doesn't have to be in writing, and and kind of give you guys guidelines because we talk about contracts a lot, and people always throwing it around, but they don't really know they really don't know what they mean. They don't really know what it is, So I gave maybe like a 25-minute talk on it, and over this week I'm gonna break down the different components that I talked about into more solid details. So I did offer, acceptance, consideration, damages. And so later this week, I'm just going to talk about offers, counter offers, right? And then I'll talk about acceptance, how you accept verbally, non-verbally, consideration, like what type of goods and services can you exchange. Then I'll talk about damages, coulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda, coulda, all that good old stuff. That's what my contracts professor used to say. All kind of crazy stuff. Talk about damages, all that good stuff, man. Just so you guys get a good idea of what it's about in your own personal life. Yeah. So anyway, Fanon, just found your Black Godfather. Clarence Avent is Al Heyman's mentor. It's really over. Black Godfather Clarence Avent. Man, why have not I heard of the Clarence Avent? Somebody just told me that. Clarence Avent. Oh, he's a musician. Is he a movie? What is he? Oh, because that makes sense. That makes sense because he's in the social. Yeah, that makes absolute sense because that's the music industry, and that's where Al Heyman came from. Is the music industry, the concert promoter. That makes sense. That makes sense. There are some beasts. You know what mine is? I grew up in Chicago, so all hail. Oh man, God dog, man, how am I forget his name, man? Wow, man, how old am I getting where I'm forgetting the name of the founder of Ebony? It's a lot of really good black. Man, how am I forget Johnson? Man, there you go, Johnson, Mr. Johnson. My dad called him Old Man Johnson, whose daughter screwed up his whole thing. John Johnson. John Johnson was a big dude, man. You should never, yeah. What am I drinking? I'm drinking Topo Chico. Topo Chico. But look, man, Muhammad is the one. Hey, Fury. Hey, for now, what if Fury loses to Schwartz? I'll be laughing. Almost as much as I'm laughing at the zone. Chris Mannix. Man, Chris Mannix is an idiot. I actually, man, this Twitter thing is really getting me paying attention to stuff, man. Yep, John H. Johnson, the founder of Ebony and Jet. John H. Johnson. I met a guy named I met Earl Graves. Earl Graves is another great one. Of course, you know, there's I mean, what's the chick with the hair care products back in the early 1900s? Man, what's the lady with the hair care products, man? Is it Madam CJ Walker? Can't remember. Was it Madam CJ Walker? But yeah, man, there's a lot. Oh, Clarence Avant was the chairman of Motown, headed up Taboo Records, SOS band. Yeah, okay. Yeah, man. See, for me, I grew contract law is the only law. Wow, it's amazing these times we in. Salute Fanon, Almighty LDBC. Let me tell you something, man. There's some truth to that. It's the essence of relationships, man. It's what's good, Steve Style. It is. It's the essence. It's so centered to everything, man. That you do in Chicago. We say, yeah, that's her for now. Yeah, Madam CJ Walker. Mm-hmm. Dude, but I grew up in a house full of businessmen. I mean, I grew up. The businessman that I looked up to was my father. And I would listen to my father and I listened to my brother talk about above the line, below the line. I was all confused for years listening to him talk about it. But man, I never had to look up to anybody for that because I lived in a house with people. My granddad who passed away before I was born, years before I was born, he owned businesses. He owned a hat shop, you know. And one thing about this, why are you getting rid of Slim Shady? Don't get rid of Slim Shady. I like to. Slim Shady said, why time people out for not agreeing with you? You fools scared to talk. No, don't nobody like you, man. You know how it is when you that geek. You know that geek that sit over there on the other side just talking a lot of smack and people know who you are. They're gonna block you on interest, dog. Get out of here. You know how them yellow dudes back in the day used to have brown paper bag tests? You know, pencil tests. You stick pencil in their hair. They see you coming in there. Nah. We got idiot tests. We know who you are. We seen your videos. We know the things you talk about. Ain't nobody want to hear that. So we block you, throw you out. Not hard. You ain't getting no names, none of that stuff. Ain't no names, ain't nobody wants to do that, man. That's gone. Gone are the days of people wanting to just flap their lips at each other to hear each other's lips flap and catch spit in their face. No, dude. We thought we get out of here. You came up under another one because you got hidden. Why'd you get unhidden? No, you hid and unhid them. No, man, just throw them out. Bye. Back. You know how the word goes. Back. Got no tolerance for that, man. Clarence Avant is responsible for Soul Train. He's the first black congressman. Andrew Young being elected. Don't talk to me about Andrew Young. And Andrew Young was not the first black congressman, not by a long shot. Okay? You talking about in Atlanta, man? Andrew Young ain't the first black congressman, not by a long shot on me. The most influential black congressman was out of New York, Adam Clayton Powell. And Adam Clayton Powell, rest in peace, was around a long time before Andrew Young. And there was a bunch of black congressmen in the middle of in the Reconstruction era as well. But Andrew Young was really, man, not Andrew Young, excuse me, out of New York. Adam Clayton Powell. I think it's Adam Clayton Powell III. Adam Clayton Powell III. Oh, no word. Oh, first congressman from Georgia. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, I know Andy Young, man. He went to my undergrad. I went to all the same schools as him. You know. Respect to the elders, though. South had a lot of black congressmen after the Civil War. Yeah. Fanon, you a damn cornball. Yeah, okay. Thanks. Why you here? If I'm a cornball, why you listening to this? Why you even come here, man? KK Boxing. And you probably just that same other dude who just got kicked out. Just go away, man. You ain't got to worry about me being a cornball. You just leave. All right, you want to see who do I want to see win, Pac-Man or Thurman? I don't really care, man. May the best man win. I'm not really tripping. Let the best man win. But let's get to the subject matter at hand. Eddie Hearn threatens the WBC over Wilder versus Fury, and DAZN sounds desperate over AJ versus Ruiz rematch. That's what y'all want to hear. And Royal Kibosh, let me tell you something about that statement you made right there. I can't speak on the first part, but that last sentence, I'm in 100% agreement. I don't think I've ever met a more arrogant. I don't think I've ever met a more arrogant person. I was completely impressed. Completely unimpressed by him. Completely unimpressed by him as a person. Completely unimpressed. What's good, Shin Smoke? But I mean, fair, acknowledgement. I don't really like. I'm not big on politicians. What's going on, Coach Gillespie in the building? So anyway, look here, man. Eddie threatens the WBC over Wilder Fury. So look, man, this moron says, man, because that's what Eddie Hearn is at this point with his hair plugs. Eddie, get rid of the hair plugs, man. I was in a room full of women watching this fight on my phone, and my daughter looked over and was like, why is he got he's like, oh, those are not very good hair plugs. I was like, what? Hair plugs? She's like, yeah, he's got hair plugs. And I was like, huh? You sure? She's like, yes, those are hair plugs. And I asked my sister-in-law. She's like, yeah, those are hair plugs. I asked my wife. She was like, oh, yeah, definitely hair plugs. All you got to do is look at the side of his hair and see, like, look at his eyebrows. His eyebrows are one color. His beard was one color. Side of his head is one color. And in the front of his head, that little swip at the front was a different color. They're like, that dude going bald. And I was like, dang, his daddy bald. So, okay, yeah, you a phony. But as far as him suing the WBC, dog, I got a video coming out. Trust me, he ain't got a snowball's chance of hell of getting out of there, dude. First of all, the WBC can do whatever they want in the best interest of boxing, man. All right, so practically speaking, he's got an issue with. He said Eddie got the wrong plug, them damn plugs. Yeah, that dude got them hair plugs, dog. Yeah, man, dude just fake as a mug, man. Just fake, man. Ran off on the plugs twice. What's going on? Yeah, Coach Guns, man, big ups to you as well. Anyway, so hair plugs Hearn. Eddie hair plugs Hearn. Oh, I ain't got a chance. Get out of here, man. First of all, if Deontay Wilder fights Tyson Fury the second time, right? And Deontay Wilder loses. Come on, man. He's going to get a rematch. So what are you trying to do? You trying to block Deontay Wilder's rematch clause? You hypocrite. Didn't Anthony Joshua got a rematch clause that you complaining about with Andy Ruiz? I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt not Raja that he could beat him. But I'm like, hold on, man. Isn't that you're trying to block a rematch clause a year ahead of time? Come on, man. How are you going to try to block a rematch clause for Deontay Wilder? We want to make sure Deontay Wilder does not get a rematch clause. We're going to sue to keep him from getting a rematch clause, from being able to exercise his rematch clause. Well, hell. Then why in the world are you trying to exercise a rematch clause against Andy Ruiz, you hypocrite? Anyway, besides the obviousness of that foolishness, there's something. Read the rule book. It says that the WBC can interpret their own rules based on their sole discretion, and that they can decide to do what they want to do if they think it's the best interest of boxing. So if they want to make it happen, they can make it happen. But number three, Deontay Wilder just did his mandatory, and it's going to be 18 months before he has to do another mandatory, depending on whether or not he has to do it every calendar year or whether he has to do it every 12 months. And maybe I could see this right here. I did have the rule book pulled up, but yeah, Eddie, that's what Eddie is, man. Eddie just full of it, man. Just beat it, Eddie. Beat it. Michael Johnson, Boxing Talking More, said Edward is hoping to bleed the WBC dry in litigation, but Judge is going to be like, why you not fight Parker and Chisora? Why you fight Parker and Chisora and sue for what? Dog, that's just, but he's not going to bleed them dry, dog, because he's going to turn around and have to pay for them fees when he loses. However, he's just threatening them threatening him so he can put that out there because, you know, Eddie only has Dillian White now. Dillian, because AJ done. AJ's done, man. Well, no, he's not done, but if he puts him in there again with Andy Ruiz, is going to be done. I mean, if they acted like they had some sense and let the guy take some time off and then say, look, man, we want our rematch club. We'll whatever. Figure out a way, man, to get him a title shot in about a year. Get him a title shot in about a year. When he got his senses together and all that crap, you're gonna throw him back in there with Andy Ruiz and get booked. Eddie Hearn, I'm just a promoter. I'm also a client. I'm not just a promoter. I'm also a client. You know, hair plugs. Eddie hair plug Hearn. Dog, go. Now, y'all want to make fun of me about being bald, but God, dog, at least I ain't doing the crap some of these other people do. Lord have mercy. I'd rather be bald than one of those cats doing the spray-ons, just doing that spray-on nonsense and getting hair plugs. Come on, man. You're getting older. This is what it is. C Star said AJ is the worst thing to happen to heavyweight boxing. Well, he ain't happening to it no more. No, he ain't bad. I mean, he got a good conversation going. It's just like they did all the leg work with all the smack talking that got people interested in the fall, and now the fall has arrived. And I'm okay with it. I mean, I don't really have any issue with the fact that they did in a large way kickstart the conversations in the heavyweight division. They could have just cut to the chase, though, and fought the fights instead of doing all that maneuvering, slipping, sliding, trying to be cute all the time. Hey, you, the guy that got kicked out. I don't hear you talking anymore. Hey, what's going on, Schmidt? I don't hear you talking no more. Hey, go make a video about me that I'm not going to watch. Do that for me. Go make a video about me that I'm not going to watch. By the way, please go check out Best Fight the Best Boxing's video that he uploaded the other day. I won't say the subject to it, but dude, it was one of the most brutal. It was one of the most brutal self-destruction of an LDBC hater that has ever occurred on YouTube. And all of y'all would suffer the same fate because you guys are just out there just talking to hear yourself talk. The Goalkeeper 3000 said, at least you ain't painting your hair and getting hair plugs. Exactly, dog. You're not going to do it. Yep, he is. He needs to be the topic of every conversation, man. But Eddie Hearn is like the DAZN guy is what kills me. This particular guy, Chris Mannix, who is, you know, he fits the stereotype. You know, he's one of these scholarly boxing writers who graduated from in journalism. He graduated in English, you know, an English major. So pretty much his whole standing in the boxing world. What's going on, Drew Titan, man? I gotta moderate you. I gotta get you in that blue. His whole standing in the boxing world is that he knows how to write a complete sentence and knows where a semicolon goes. That's what the English majors do. He has good sentence structure. And he has clear diction. Oh yeah, enjoy it. Oh, enjoy it. That's what all those guys are about. And this particular dude who shall remain nameless represents all of these guys. There are guys that literally drop. Just tapping in for now, much respect, man. Much respect to you, Monster Madness. There's entire channels that have exploded. Man, there was this one dude used to go by the name of he liked to go to libraries. I'll leave his name like that. Dog, I need to go look right now to see if this dude has put up a video since. Hold on, man. I gotta see. I'm not gonna show you, but I'm gonna go see. Because the destruction of these dudes. Oh, yeah, it's right up on my search term. I'm steady looking for stuff. Yeah, he changed subjects to Mike Tyson versus Deontay Wilder. Yeah, dog, but you ain't saying shit about AJ. Let's see if you talk about the death, the dismantlement, the complete and utter destruction of No. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you admitted a couple little things, but we told you that a long time ago. Hey, wait, thank you. What's good? Yeah, no worry. Yeah, Best Fight the Best is funny, man. Real funny. Oh, yeah, man, they dying, they dropping like flies. Yeah, they got to go away. But now they're going to find somebody. But see, you got to see, just like a symbiote. You know that symbiote that in Spider-Man, it's like this thing that attack. It's like the ugly. It's like an ugly parasitic, virus that has to live off of a host. And then it's just so now that AJ's dead and twitching, yeah, like Venom, like he twitching on the ground, it's got to leave and go find something else to go suck the life out of. And they will try to suck the life out of Andy Ruiz, but the Mexicans ain't gonna let that happen. Yeah, they need a new host. You know what's gonna happen? The Mexicans gonna be like, no. They're like, no, Vato, get the fuck up out of here, man. We got Andy Ruiz, homie. We got Andy Ruiz. So the movies just kicked him off of Andy Ruiz real fast. Bah, get up off me. Andy Ruiz said $50 million to go to the UK. The symbiote had to leave. The symbiote's like, oh, we cannot attach to him. He has too much pride. It's his Mexican blood, and he's not Mexican style. It's the real Mexican fighter. We can't hang with them because half of them we don't understand, and we dislike them for the same reason that the black fighter. But we got to go. So they couldn't stay on with Andy Ruiz, and they had to leave. They had to leave. Then they're going to try to grab on to Tyson Fury, but then Tyson Fury out there dancing. Can't hang with Tyson Fury too quick because you don't know what Tyson Fury going to do. You don't know what Tyson's unpredictable, and Tyson be dissing them. So they're going to try to get with anything, anybody. It'll come soon. We'll see who they latch on to, whose blood they try to suck out. And you see what they do. They kill their host every time. Because the host can't take the pressure. That's what happened to Deontay Wilder. That's what happened to Anthony Joshua. He couldn't take the pressure. Anthony Joshua knew. He's like, but man, I know that I'm ducking the fight. See, all that stuff, when you ducking, you really know you're ducking and it weighs heavy on you. And it was heavy on his heart, dog, and it resulted in, the inevitable taking place. Tyson Fury rematch with Wilder, I reckon. It'll happen. Whatever. I'll take whatever, man. I don't care. I was watching Deontay Wilder fight the Luis Ortiz fight yesterday, man. You guys are tripping if you don't think Deontay Wilder can fight, man. That dude can fight, man. They going to Dubois and Ife next. No, see, watch. Let me tell you why they're not going to go. Not Roger. They can't go to Danny Dubois, and they can't go to Ife Agagba because we're already there. Okay? Because we're already there. See, here's the thing. They cannot live. What's going on? The Boxing Voice, #1 podcast in the world. Hey, I'll super chat that. Hey, man. Much love in the super chat. I'm a trail boxing. I like both. I would put, I got #1A trail boxing talk. #1B, I can go with the Boxing Voice. Oh, you insulted me. Is that 2? Did you know to throw a 2 at me? You know I'm superstitious. Hearn doesn't have any idea what he's dealing with in Al Heyman. Man, he's on something, man. He just making stuff up. Oh, Ancestral Rage threw that out of there. Says, sorry. Yeah, he insulted me with the $2. Insulted me with that $2 and then said I wasn't as good as the Boxing Voice. But I already know I'm not as good as the Boxing Voice, so you're not going to hurt my feelings. Those guys are very, very good. Very, very good. Narco Champion TV El Bruto, what's good, man? But see, that's that symbiotics. That's trying to drag you down. But see, that's why they really can't go with Danny Dubois or Agagbe because we're gonna like them. And see, they can't exist. They can't exist in the same sphere as me, for sure. Because as soon as I act like I like them, they're going to dislike them. That's just all it is. Or they're going to be like, oh, you just like him because, you know, whatever, dog. They're just going to they can't do it because the whole purpose is disagreeing with people. So if too many people like him, they got to find somebody else. So for now, like they might talk about him for a little while, but it's not, you know, as soon as something good happens, soon as people get behind them, they're going to run. Sir Flame said, what's good for now? What do you think about Charlo Canelo? I think Canelo needs to fight Charlo. And I really don't think that I have a feeling that Canelo can't beat him. I think that Charlo, I was actually thinking about this weekend, man. I think Charlo beats him. But it's got to be proven. It'll be a good fight, but I'm leaning towards Charlo in that fight. And I don't think that they're really going to want that fight. Like, I would love to see Charlo, Gennady Golovkin. They're just going to try to duck out on Charlo as much as they possibly can, man. Boo Boy gets smacked upside the head. What boy? The boy paid to get smacked upside the head. Well, you know, I mean, that's his person. He wants to put a commercial in there for the Boxing Voice. That's a little tacky, you know. That's a little tacky, a little distracting and tacky. But hey, man, it is what it is. I listened to Dubois at the conference recently. Sounds like AJ 2.0. He doesn't have much personality. He's a great fighter, but lacks charisma to gain widespread U.S. support. Yeah, man, but you know, I think the same thing could be said about Lennox Lewis. I think the same thing could be said about Evander Holyfield. At the end of the day, man, it's going to be about whether or not you can win the fight. Armando Smith, is Spence negotiating the fight with Canelo? I have no clue. I have no clue what's going on with that. I have no clue what's going on with it. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait to see what happens. Razzo, who do you think is the best heavyweight? ATM? What is ATM? Oh, at the moment, it's Wilder. I mean, you can't say anybody. There's only one person that has a logical claim to being the best heavyweight in the world, and it's Deontay Wilder. That's it. Deontay Wilder drew with Tyson Fury, right? He drew with Tyson Fury, so Tyson Fury can't say he's better than him. There's got to be this. They have to be equal. They were equal in that fight. But Deontay Wilder's been reigning. He's been heavyweight champion since 2015. He's easily the most accomplished heavyweight in boxing. I mean, do you realize that Tyson Fury has never even had a successful title defense? Not one. He can be lineal. First of all, that lineal crap that's debatable. Number one, that lineal is debatable. But dog, he has not beaten a top 10 opponent in 4 years. He's never successfully defended his title. He doesn't have a belt. I mean, what do you want me to say? Why you can't? You're going to overcome all that because some website, Cyberzone Boxing, decided to pass their lineal title to Vladimir Klitschko over Vitaly Klitschko back in 2006? No, man. There's no real flimsy. There's no real good solid argument for anybody. I mean, and he could get. I mean, look, the whole strip thing. CB Sports, you really shouldn't lose the lineal belt for getting stripped. But we're talking about who the best champion is. You can be the lineal champion of the world, and I still don't think you're the best heavyweight. Okay, you could be the lineal champion. For example, Miguel Cotto was the lineal middleweight champion. He was the lineal middleweight champion. I don't think he was the best middleweight. I don't think he would have beaten Gennady Golovkin while he was the lineal middleweight. I think Gennady Golovkin would have beat Cotto. So if you ask me who the best just because you're the lineal doesn't mean that you're the best. I'm looking at what's going on in the ring. Personally, I thought Tyson Fury got knocked down 3 times in that fight. And Gavin Reese cut him, and Reese, whatever his name is, cut him a break when he got knocked down the first time, and he cut him a break when he got up. I think, and Deontay Wilder's fought and beaten better competition more recently. It's just, I don't think there's a very solid argument for Tyson Fury. You know, that's how I see it. Oh, yeah, the ring did go a long time before they took Fury. Lineal certification, it speaks for itself. Look, man, lineal is so highly questionable that it's like, I mean, I don't even really know what to say about it, man. It's so. Do you realize? Do you know who the lineal welterweight champion is right now? According to CyberZone Boxing, you know who the lineal welterweight champion is? Because that's the person who they're relying on. A lot of people don't even know who the quote unquote official keeper of the lineal title is. It's CyberZone Boxing. And CyberZone Boxing, it's CyberZone Boxing. CyberZone Boxing. Why? Because the guy's a rope anyway, but regardless. No. The lineal heavyweight, the little middleweight, the lineal is dun, 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 Manny Pacquiao. How did that work? Manny Pacquiao lost. Manny Pacquiao lost to Jeff Hearn and stayed the lineal champion. You think somebody's saying the type that Terrence Crawford is a lineal champion? No, they don't. Jeff Hearn beat Manny Pacquiao. Terrence Crawford beat Jeff Hearn. So shouldn't it be Terrence Crawford? No, it's not Terrence Crawford. Because that's not what they want to sell. See, hey Webster, for non holler at me, Pete behind. Okay, I may have some business for you. Piece of the chat room. Yeah, man. Hit me with your email again, man. Hey, Weapons, why don't I see you in the? Hey, Weapons, you moderated, man. I don't know why you're not moderated. That's because I might be missing your comments. Yeah, Crawford is the lineal. Look, man. Let me go here somewhere real quick. I'm telling you, man, people be talking like that stuff is set in stone. It's not. The only time that you get the lineal is when the only time that you can solidify lineal is when somebody comes unified. Somebody gets unified, they get all the belts. Every guy that won a championship winds up there. That's when you should get it. But it's very subjective. Very, very subjective. What's going on, BFTV Boxing? I have some business. Drink More Water said I have some business-related questions I'm going to drop on the Patreon. Yeah, no worries. I give you my insight on it. Zamundo's here. You go and channel to channel, trolling on over Vlad. Who's Zamundo? Zabundo. Vlad was the super champ before. Who cares? First of all, Zambano Love, super champ is a designation for the WBA, is the WBA belt. Who cares? All super champ means is that you're the WBA champion. That's what a super champ means. The WBA champion is called the super champ. That's a delineation between the WBA belt, the WBA super, the WBA regular. The WBA champion is the super champion. So Keith Thurman is the WBA super champ. Manny Pacquiao is the WBA regular champ. If you have a regular belt, you're not the champion. Just like situation was down at 135 with Machado and Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is a super champ. Machado was the regular champ. So really, Machado's not a belt. Machado wasn't a champion. I don't know how that worked exactly. All right, man. I just sent you Weapons. I sent you a email, just a quick one, just so I have you in my system. You can respond to that I just sent you, please. Thank you. Yeah. So whatever. I can go into why why they say Tyson Fury was the lineal champion, but it really doesn't have anything to do with. It has more to do with what happened after Lennox Lewis retired, and for some crazy reason. That nobody can make sense to me. I agree with Shanula Farmer. Lineal is a boxing political scam at this time. There's a need to clarify who it is. Yeah, man. Look, if the Rummy's channel has a good video about lineal champion in the heavyweight division, I can look at that. But if it supports Tyson Fury being the lineal champion, then I disagree with it. More than likely. I'll go. I saw that video come up. I haven't looked at it. Yeah, I'll watch it again, but let me tell you what it is. I know what the lineal champion. I know the lineage of the lineal champion. Right? The lineal champion was Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was the lineal champion. I'll do it from Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was the lineal champion, and Lennox Lewis retired. After Lennox Lewis retired, the lineal championship went vacant. And then the next lineal champion, according to most people's thinking, was Vladimir Klitschko after Vladimir Klitschko beat Ruiz and Shagayev. When he beat Ruiz and Shagayev, he became the lineal champion. The problem that I have with that is that it was 6 years. It was 5 or 6 years after Lennox Lewis retired that they gave the lineal championship to Vladimir Klitschko, although Vladimir and had it in a fight with him and Ruiz and Shagayev. If Ruiz and Shagayev would have beaten Vladimir Klitschko, then Ruiz and Shagayev would have been the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And there's no reason in the world for Ruiz and Shagayev to have been fighting for the lineal championship. The lineal championship, and remember that Vladimir Klitschko lost his WBO belt to Corey Sanders. And then Corey Sanders lost that WBO belt in a fight with Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly Klitschko wound up being the WBA champion after he won a vacant belt. But he did it years before. They said that the lineal pass to Vladimir Klitschko. So I have no idea why in the world it wouldn't apply to Vitaly Klitschko. Because Vitaly Klitschko not only won the same belt that Lennox Lewis won, the WBC belt, he also beat the guy that beat Vladimir Klitschko in Corey Sanders. So if you want to say who's the best heavyweight in the world, well, Vladimir Klitschko lost his WBO belt to Corey Sanders. Vitaly Klitschko beat Corey Sanders. So there's a line of there's a reason to say it should be Vitaly Klitschko. I think it should have been Vitaly Klitschko. And Vitaly Klitschko won the WBO belt. So the question is, why were people saying that it should be Vladimir Klitschko over Vitaly Klitschko? I think Vitaly Klitschko, no, he didn't retire. No, he didn't retire. He became inactive, but he didn't retire for years after. He didn't retire for several years after that passed. Because when did 2015 is he probably retired in like 2012, something like that. But let me look at the numbers. But there's just no reason for it. I mean, if there is, there's a reason they did it. But honestly, man, I think it had more to do with them wanting Vladimir Klitschko to be the poster boy of the division. It's just they treated it like they treat the pound for pound thing. Like, what right-minded person thought that Chocolatito should have been the number one? That Chocolatito should have been the number one pound for pound fighter in the world over Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford. Come on, man. All right, Vitaly Klitschko retired in 2012. He did take a break but he was a WBC champion between 2014 and between 2004 and 2008. I think he was injured and took some time off. But that passed with Ruiz and Shagayev, but it should have passed here, though. He won the WBC. He won the WBO title. Hold on. When did he fight Lennox? He fought Lennox in 2003. He became the WBC champion when he beat Corey Sanders for the WBC belt. But Corey Sanders, I wonder why did Corey Sanders lose his WBO title? He must have got stripped of his WBO title because in 2003, Corey Sanders knocked out Vladimir Klitschko to get the WBO title, but then just 11 months later, he was fighting for the WBC championship against Vitaly Klitschko. I think, and for more than one reason, that Vladimir Klitschko should never have been the lineal over Vitaly Klitschko, at the very least, because he beat somebody that knocked out Vitaly Klitschko. I mean, that knocked out his brother. But I don't think he retired. I just think he was highly inactive. But inactivity doesn't have anything to do with the lineal championship. Because as you see, nobody tried to strip Lennox because if inactivity had something to do with it, then when Tyson Fury didn't fight for 2 years, shouldn't it have gone away too? You know what I mean? But they waited until 2006 to pass it. I mean, yeah, definitely, Abby, it could be a reason. I guarantee they have a reason. I just don't agree with the reason. I don't think there's any valid reason. I don't think there's any reason to give it to. If they gave it to Vladimir Klitschko, though, they should have given. It shouldn't have been when Vladimir Klitschko beat Chris Bird for the IBF. The Diesel is Tyson Fury overhyped? No, because he's not very hyped. I mean, Tyson Fury's not very hyped. I mean, no, there's a lot of people that try to. He's given a moral victory that kept him afloat. That moral victory people are trying to hand him. Yeah, I mean, but look, man. People have opinions about the lot. All I'm trying to say is that whole lineal championship thing is highly questionable. Especially, man, we can argue all day about why they would pass it to Vladimir Klitschko over Vitaly Klitschko. You know? What best win on a resume? Dog, you kidding me? Why in the world is Vladimir Klitschko over Fury a better resume fight than Luis Ortiz? Why is it a harder fight? Why is that a harder fight? Do you realize that dude had 80 fights? Like not literally 80 fights. He was on his 69. Was he on his 68th fight at that time? Let's see what the record of Vitaly Klitschko was at the time. Or Vladimir Klitschko was at the time. Vladimir Klitschko lost to Tyson Fury in 2015. When I do believe he was 64-3. He was on his 67th fight. He had been a professional for 10. Is he a professional for 10 years? Oh, no, longer than that. Excuse me. Vladimir Klitschko had been a professional for 12 years. He had 70 fights before he got in with and was coming off of a decision win against. Man, people forget the dude was old, man. He was old and been knocked out several times, man. Come on, man. Luis Ortiz was undefeated knockout artist. Southpaw, Cupid, whatever, man. You can say what you want to say. I would say that's like saying that what's a better win? Mike Tyson's win over what would be better win? Lennox Lewis's win over Ray Mercer or Larry Holmes' win over Muhammad Ali? Man, Luis Ortiz ain't 57 years old. That dude is around 40 years old. He's around 39, 40 years old. But what's a better win? You're just using the name. You're just using the name. I don't want to do pound for pound. I'm just going to tell you who the pound for pound best fighter is. I think the pound for pound best fighter is Terrence Crawford, with a close decision between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. The two of those are close for me. But the whole list, I'm not going to put 10 people ahead of a heavyweight. Okay? Given one guy respect for being the best of the little men is one thing. Because that's what pound for pound is supposed to be. Pound for pound is supposed to be one guy that gets credit for being the best of the rest of the weight classes. But the way that these guys are using it now, they're using it as a way to devalue the heavyweight division by putting 10 guys ahead of them and using it as a marketing mechanism, man. Luis is not, I mean, you know how it is. Luis Ortiz would be a bum if he was third. It doesn't matter, man. All they're going to do is come up with some other reason for why they want to disagree with you. But that's cool. But I understand what it is, though. Anyway, man. I gotta limit my conversations a little bit, man, because I'm going to discredit. Yeah. Craig Oyuji. First, I don't even see you guys on the channel too much, and I'm answering your questions. I don't even know if I should be because I think you're trolling. But please explain to the public the difference between the #1 ranked fighter in the sanctioning body and the mandatory, and how they're all not always the same. Oh yeah, Craig, great question. The WBC's rules say that they can mandate a fight between anybody in the top 3. Thank you, Craig. In the top 3. So in order to be the mandatory, they can order the #1, the #2, or the #3 to be the mandatory fighter, and that is in the discretion of that sanctioning body. I'm speaking specifically of the WBC. So, for example, in the case of Dominic Breazeale was named the mandatory for Deontay Wilder before the rankings, before he dropped to #4 in the rankings by the WBC. So, since he was the mandatory, he remained the mandatory, although he was no longer the #1 ranked fighter. You don't have to and it explicitly states it in the rules that just because you are the #1 ranking, you're the #1 guy, that does not necessarily mean that you are going to be the mandatory. Okay, and let me read to you. Let me go to the WBC rules, and I'll give you the chapter and verse on it. Reading the rules is really helpful. Knowing where they are in my cases would be, remembering the specific number of them would be better. But let me go. Special circumstances after purse bids, contractual agreements, WBC officials, WBC belts, championship obligations. Champions shall defend their titles either voluntarily or mandatory against each channel in one of them, blah, 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 blah. Mandatory defenses. All WBC champions shall make at least one mandatory defense per year unless an exemption is granted by the WBC in its sole discretion. The champion may be required to make more than one mandatory defense if the WBC is designated more than one mandatory. But see, this is where you get ambiguity too, by the way. Do you see this particular? All right, this is what I would do in my lecture on interpreting agreements. Let me screen share with you for a second. Hide a second. Okay, and why these people, I try to tell you guys, look, I try to tell these dudes and stuff. Oh, I read the rules. Did you? Well, tell me what this means. All WBC champions shall make at least one mandatory defense per year. Now, let me ask you a question. What does that mean? Deontay Wilder, and I'll get to your questions below, and the designation of, this is designation of mandatory challenges. Well, let me go first here. Let me ask the guys a question first. Hey, man, join the Patreon too, please. Would greatly appreciate it, man. Join the Patreon because I can get detailed with this type of stuff in the Patreon. This is what he's talking about. Designating of mandatory challengers. Right here. And honestly, I think your boy is breaking the rules by even saying the stuff he's saying in the news. The WBC shall always have the discretion to designate a mandatory challenger by A, ordering a final elimination bout of 2 qualified contenders, or designating a qualified challenger as a mandatory challenger. So they can order it or they can name it. For avoidance of doubt, Eddie, read the rules here, Eddie. The highest rated or highest rated available boxer in the WB rankings is never, solely by virtue of such position, the official mandatory challenger. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary, except, that's what notwithstanding means, including any communication attributed to the WBC, no boxer shall be considered or claim any privileges associated with being the mandatory challenger unless the boxer has officially designated such by the WBC or the president's designation, blah, 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 blah. So that is why being the number one person, this is section 3.7, designation of mandatory challengers, to this line right here, WBC is never solely by virtue of such position. Never. So they can rank you number one, but that doesn't mean that they have to order that fight. They do not have to order that fight. And Eddie Hearn is lying because he might not be lying, but I haven't seen it, where he is designated where they've done A or B, whether he's either ordered a final elimination bout, because I haven't heard it being ordered. I know they ordered Tyson Fury, but if Tyson Fury doesn't take it, that doesn't mean that Oscar Rivas automatically becomes that fight automatically becomes a final elimination, because the WBC didn't explicitly order it as a final elimination. And they definitely didn't just designate him as one. But look here, this is something I want you guys to understand, okay? The all WBC champion shall make at least one mandatory defense per year. You see that? Now let me ask you a question. Does that mean a calendar year? Or does that mean a 12-month period? Because if it's a calendar year, then Deontay Wilder doesn't have to fight a mandatory till December of next year, because he would have already had one in 2019, right? 2019. If it's 12 months, then it would be May. But if it's a calendar year, then it's not until December. That's the ambiguity that you find in agreements all the time. So when you guys tell me about what a rematch clause says, dog, you don't know what it means, because people can go over and two reasonable people can interpret things differently. Deontay can say, man, it says it in the rule, but it's a calendar year. But guess what? Back in this section right here, and I'll share this. Join the Patreon, because I know y'all ain't super chatting for this information. But it's valuable information. It really is. That and project management are very, 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 very valuable information that people underestimate a lot. This right here. You see this line right here? Interpretations of rules and powers of the WBC president to act in the best interest of boxing. The WBC president, blah, 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 has full power and authority to interpret the rules and regulation and to issue and apply such ruling as he shall, in his sole discretion, which means it ain't none of your business, deemed to be in the best interest of boxing. This is a loophole you can drive a truck through. Loophole you can drive a truck through. He can do whatever he wants, as long as he thinks it's in the best interest of boxing. If he thinks Tyson Fury versus Deontay, if he thinks not ordering a mandatory is in the best interest of boxing, he can do it. What does best interest of boxing mean? Well, who gets interpreted? Me, because it's my sole discretion. Me. It's up to me what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. Eddie, kick rocks. What you gonna sue me for? What? Read the rule book. Anyway, let me get back to here. So that's my explanation of that. That's my explanation of that. Yeah, read the rules. You guys are smack talking. Thank you for explaining the mandatory issue. No worries, man. Read the silver part, champ. Oh man, I can. Let me get back to that in a hot. You say you don't. We say about the contract. You hear the Beebs take on the contract situation with regard to the rematch. He mentions your name. Who's Beeb? Who's Beeb? Who's Beebs? Tank gain a grip. Who's Beebs? I'll wait for that. General Score said that says none of what the rules say. Man, exactly. It's exactly what it says. Exactly. Exactly what it says, dog. That's exactly what it says. But who's Beebs? I'm waiting on this Beebs. Who's Beebs? Mentioning my name. Please all leave my name out your mouth. I don't want to read it out loud right now because I got to read it and then I got to know what it means. Because when I read a clause, I stop and I think about it for like an hour. Yeah, who's this Beebs? Beebs? Who's Beebs? Mentioning my take on it. He says, stop name dropping. I want to know who they talking about that mentioned my take on the contract situation. Oh, said the dude who used to be with the boxing voice and Ness has a YouTube channel. He knows you are expert in contracts and was wondering if you had looked into it. Look, man, here's my thing. Tank gain a grip. And you can tell, dude, you have to read the agreement to know what it is. You have to read it. But look, man, there's something outside the contract called bargaining power. Because what you're doing is this. And people don't like when I say this. I'm telling you the truth. He said, Sufla, I must admit, when you do break down contracts sound gangster as hell. Hey, dog, let me tell you. Thanks, man. Yeah, so Drake Morris says, show some finesse, some love, join the Patreon and sub. Thank you, man. And let me tell you. Look, man, there's something called bargaining power. You got to know this is a negotiation issue. See, Eddie Hearn, this is me being a jerk, okay? If I was advising, dude, and you, first of all, 50 million ain't happening because they ain't got 50 million. The $50 million, they ain't got $50 million, right? So he's basically saying he don't want to go to UK, right? Now, Eddie says, let's just take, for example, let's just say that Eddie Hearn has a rematch clause that says you must fight within 12 months, right? Legalese it's not legalese. This is just simple common sense. Look, somebody says you got to fight. You agreed to take you. I'll fight you if you agree that you'll if I lose, you'll immediately fight me and give me $10 million, and I'll pay you $10 million, and the fight is going to be in the United Kingdom. Let's just assume that's right, okay? Then you say, okay, we now have to go into a negotiation for this new fight. You still have to actually draft an agreement, right? You have to still draft an agreement saying the time, the date, right? The gloves, all the other just boilerplate stuff that's in your agreement. You still have to go through that, right? You have bargaining. So you're going to enter into a bargain. You're going to enter into a negotiation. What I'm saying is this. If I don't want to make that fight, I can price myself out of that fight. But they're saying, well, no, you already agreed to the price. So I'm like, okay, well, there's other things that I can do if I don't want to be in the agreement. Like, say that I'm going to drop my belts. Is there anything in that agreement that prohibits Andy Ruiz from dropping or vacating more than one or more belts? Did Eddie Hearn say, and you cannot vacate any of the belts? You cannot be stripped of any of the belts. Of course not, because Eddie Hearn does not have the power to dictate whether or not the WBA strips him. He doesn't have any power to dictate whether or not Andy Ruiz decides to retire. He doesn't have any ability to tell Andy Ruiz to fight. Andy Ruiz could take a year off and say, I got a bunch of money, I'm walking away. So when you walk into the door and you're talking to him and you're like, look, man, I know it said 10, but honestly, that's before there's some things I didn't understand, Eddie. I didn't know what the dollar value of it was. If I would have known the dollar value that people were paying, then I wouldn't have agreed to that. So I don't want that. And Eddie says you have to do that. No, I don't have to do that. Because there's something that you, in a negotiation, called BATNA. Best alternative, right? What is it? Best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Best alternative to a negotiated agreement. BAT. B-A-T. Best alternative to negotiated agreement. So what are you going to do if it fails? What are you going to do if that whole agreement fails? What if Andy Ruiz says, look, man, you're trying to make me fight in this big ass ring. I don't want to fight in this big ass ring or this little ring. No, I want to get out of here. What's he going to do? He walks away from the fight. What is Andy Ruiz's best? What is Anthony Joshua's best alternative to a negotiated agreement? What is he going to do if their negotiation for that fight falls apart? He's going to have to go back and fight other people for the belts because he doesn't have the WBA nor the IBF or the WBO contractually obligated to keeping those belts held for him. So what I'm saying is it's a negotiation thing. Even what Eddie Hearn is doing by publicly announcing what is in the terms of that contract is a negotiation ploy. He's trying to convince people in the public that Andy Ruiz has no choice, but that's just not true. That's just not true. Just because you agreed to something doesn't mean that it remains stable. You will negotiate. Watch this. If you negotiate a salary with your job, right? Like that's a contract. I go to work for you. You're going to pay me $100,000 to do this deal, right? And that's our agreed upon salary. But then one day you get an offer from somebody else. Says, look, Fanon, I'll pay you $300,000. And then so you go back to the guy and you say, look, man, I know I agreed to $100,000. I want to stay here. They offered me $3,000. Can you match it? Yes or no? No, I cannot match it, Fanon, but you signed a contract that said you would stay. And if you vacate it, then you got to pay me back all your relocation fees. And I say, okay, I got to pay you what do you mean relocation fees? Oh yeah, I paid you $5,000 to move from your city to this city. You got to give me that money back. That's what it says in the contract. Then I say, okay, you're right. I go to my other job and say, hey man, look, I'd love to sign for the $300,000, but I need something else. I need you to reimburse me for the cost that I have with him. I need you to give me I need you to add this in the signing bonus. And they say, hey man, I love you, Fanon. I want to hire you. Yeah, we'll take care of that. Tell them guys to kick rocks. Tell them to F off, kick rocks. I got you. Okay, great. Then you go to the guy and say, hey man, here's your money back. Here's your money back. But by the way, I'm leaving tomorrow because there's nothing in that agreement that says I got to give you 2 weeks notice. I'm leaving tomorrow. Now, if you want to take that money from me, if you insist on taking that money from me, okay. But if you wait a week, 2 weeks, and you give that up, then I'll stay 2 weeks and I'll help you with your transition. Right? You go through that type of stuff. And Eddie Hearn acting as if these guys don't have any ability. And what did Chris Mannix say? Oh, they have complete control. No, you do not have complete control. There ain't no such thing as complete control, even if the dude was a slave. they're in complete control because he got a choice to say no and you just, off him. Anyway, man, just stop. Stop trying to muscle people around in the press. That's all it is. So that's my take on it. I don't even have to know what's in the agreement to know that Andy Ruiz has bargaining power. And here's another thing. Andy Ruiz might say, keep your belts because you're going to be looked at as a paper champ and Eddie Hearn has to think this. What if I don't make this? Remember, what's your best alternative to a negotiated agreement? BATNA. What's Eddie Hearn's BATNA? Man, his best alternative is to give me my money and fight in the United States. Because I'd go through it. Just go through it in his head. Just go through it. If Eddie Hearn doesn't get this rematch, and what does he have to do? What's the natural consequence of this? He's got to go to the zone and tell him he can't deliver that rematch. So now the zone doesn't have the fight that's interested. Because the zone he wants some money from the zone. Right? The belt symbolized something. But if he says no, then he's also, not only does he have a problem with the zone, he's now got to go chase around and take mandatory fights. He's got to deal with Bob Arum. He's got to argue with Bob Arum. You think Bob Arum, you know what Bob Arum's going to do? Bob Arum be like, gee. Pulev versus Fury for the WBO title. They'll have Fury fighting for the WBO. He'll have Pulev fighting for the IBF next week if Andy Ruiz doesn't give him that rematch. There ain't no. That's what I'm just saying. You got to think that's a negotiation thing, right? Because you negotiate, and are you willing to now watch? Money is something that you own, right? Something that you have. I got money, right? And I say, look, man, I need a little more money in exchange for this. So what does Eddie Hearn have? Eddie Hearn has a rematch clause. That's something he has with certain specifications. So he says that's something he has. Al Heyman's going to know, Shelly Finkel's going to know that they got something. They got the champ. And he says, look, if you want the champ, you got to give up something that you have. Give up that UK portion. You get your fight, but we need $20 million. We need the fight on Fox, and we need it in the United States. Give up what you got. They can negotiate that rematch clause. That's negotiable. Just come on, man. Stop trying to muscle people like they stupid. But that's why they do it in the press. That's why they do it in the press. That's why they do it in the press. And they don't do that behind closed doors. And why y'all need to shut up? Because if they wouldn't have said it in the press, I hope Andy Ruiz people listening to it. Macro talk, you're all talk, little big time. You get yourself down to the gym. Ha ha ha. What are you talking about? I'm not going to a gym. I'm not fighting. You sound like a moron. I don't fight. Does Shelly Finkel fight? Do you ever seen Al Heyman in the boxing ring? What is Bob Arum's record, amateur record and professional record? Please. What is Lou DiBella's professional boxing record? Dog, we spar on this paper. I spar on paper. And I'll spar you anytime, any place, anywhere on a piece of paper. And I will wipe the floor with you. Okay? Wipe the floor with you. I'll put will. I'll put shall where you want will. You know what I mean? I'll put shall where you want will. I'll put may up in the middle of a sentence, dog, and wreck you. Because you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? I'll put may in the middle of a sentence and completely destroy you. I'll put a comma. You give me a piece of paper, I will take a comma out that bitch and destroy you. Okay? Shut up. I'll take that comma right up out that bitch. Boop. Oh, yeah, I like that. But edit. Erase that comma. Oh, you said this. You said, oh, entire agreement. I'll throw an entire agreement in there on you, dog. But you told me at the desk that you see that it says entire agreement. Nothing outside of this piece of paper matters. None of our previous agreements. None of it. Oh, yeah, exactly. I'll kill him with a comma, dog. Get out of here, man. I'm not making it up. I ain't making it up. Go ask somebody. Go ask somebody, dog. Go ask somebody. For not an elite heavyweight on paper, dog. Seriously, man. On paper, I would say I'm good. I'm good on paper. I'm not, there's some people who are monsters. You know what I mean? There's some people who are monsters. I mean, monsters. But I ain't no amateur. I'll tell you that. I'll put it that way. I'm a professional. I ain't Muhammad Ali of this paperwork. But I promise you this. You won't want to get in no ring and spar with me if you ain't no professional. If you ain't no professional, if you don't want to spar with me in that regard, I'll say that much. Because I don't want to overestimate it. And go ask somebody, dog. Go ask somebody if I'm wrong. Go listen to what I say. Go talk to somebody that you know knows and ask them if I'm wrong. Is that correct? What's the difference between will and may? You know how much money people have lost over a comma? Come on, man. You just talking. You want to insult me? Oh, Fanon knows nothing about contracts. I don't even got to go to the contract, dog. It's negotiation. You know what you're going to get arguing with Google? Nothing. Okay? Because you ain't got no money. And they got a ton of dough. And they'll keep you rolling around and rolling around and rolling around and rolling around and rolling around. And if you lose, you're going to lose all kind of money. They're going to say, what is your percentage? What's the percentage chance that you win this, Eddie? What do you think? It's 80%? You got an 80% winning a lawsuit against the WBC? Huh? 80%, that means there's a 2 in 10 chance that you might lose your money. You lose all those litigation costs. You've wasted all that time. The belts got stripped. And now Bob Arum got them. Or Al Heyman throws, and then you lose. Just get out of here, dog. Just get out of here. Stop listening to Eddie, man. He's a used car salesman. Okay? Eddie's a used car salesman, dog. He hires people like me to do this. We got a rock solid rematch clause. Really? Are you barred in the state of New York, dog? I'm not barred in the state of New York. Okay? I don't even know if Eddie knows where the hell that shit's going to get adjudicated. And who is the mediator? Is it the New York State Athletic Commission? Anyway, man, he probably knows that. But I would say that's an insult to a used car salesman. Yeah. Man, just get out of here, man. Y'all don't know what this do. Y'all don't know what's going to happen till it happens. Okay? You don't know what's going to happen till it happens. It might very well wind up in the UK. It might very well wind up in the UK. Okay? But like Eddie said, it's not what you deserve, it's what you negotiate. Ain't that what Eddie told? Isn't that what AJ said Eddie told him? But it's not about what you. AJ wanted to fight him right now, but like I told him, it's not what you earn, it's what you negotiate. Oh, so it's not what you have written on that contract that says this fight got to be in the UK. It's what you negotiate, right? Well, hey, let's negotiate. What's going on, Kingsley? Watching from Nigeria. Shout out to Nigeria, man. Oh, Ivy Webb said, Fanon, you giving out free game, and I hope everyone understands this is priceless. No, there's two things that people should learn, in my opinion. Project management, the principles of project management, and the basic understanding of contractual agreements. Those two things right there, Did Antoine Johnson, contract law is this basic part of law school. I went to law school and I learned about, I took contracts, but really most of, this is the basic stuff. Contracts 1, contracts 2. I think I also took like classes in secure transactions. No, dude, this ain't an opinion. Yeah, opinion. You're right, Macro. Like, here's another opinion. You're a moron, dude. That's my opinion. That's my hypothesis. That's my educated guess. That if I talk to you, if I could see your face, I would think you're a moron. That's what I would think. That's my opinion. Yeah. Do you know what also they find? It's interesting too, macro, that do you know what they call? Can anybody tell you what it is called when a judge issues a ruling? Can anybody tell me what they call what they call it, the thing that the judge issues when they decide a particular issue? Can anybody tell me what they call that? Since macro says I have an opinion. Anybody want to tell me? This is pretty straightforward. It's called an opinion. It's called an opinion. Okay? Two people get in an argument, they sit in front of some judge, and then it's an opinion. But it is the judgment, it is the verdict, but they issue their opinion. When they explain what they did, it's called an opinion. They give the judgment, and then they issue their opinion. They give you their opinion. And you have a dissenting opinion. You got the majority opinion. You got the dissenting opinion because there's rules, there's issues, there's a rule, there's an application, and there's a conclusion. You dummy. Okay? The issue is this an enforceable rematch clause? That's the issue. What's the rule? They will tell you what the rule is. The rule is that if you signed it, it's enforceable. What's the conclusion? Was it an enforceable agreement? We are going to, issue. That's the rule. Now we apply it to the facts. You have an issue. You have a rule that decides the issue. Then you have an application. You got to apply the rule, the issue to the rule. And then you come up with a conclusion about whether it fits or not, whether it happens or whether it doesn't. But that's all an opinion, which means you have two reasonable people who have an opinion. Come on, dummy. No, as much as your hair on your head, contract sorted beforehand is called business. Really? A contract is called business? Is it? Is it? It's sorted beforehand? Really? You ever heard of an amendment? Amendments happen after they've already had the original agreement. Performance, a contract isn't supported beforehand. A contract is an action is completed when it's over. Okay? Like I love this because this is so fun. I'm going to end this whole conversation, macro, on this. Your dumbass thinks the contract was written on a piece of paper, don't you? You look at a piece of paper. Where's a piece of paper? I know I got me a little contract laying around here somewhere. All right. So this is for my camera. Okay. They got some terms and conditions here. Yes, they do. This is a contract. Okay. See that? This is Canon EF lenses accessory limited warranty for US and Canada only. This is a contract right here. Okay. All that is the documentation, dog. Now, if the contract was all supported beforehand, what happens how can you breach something that's already over? How do you breach something that's already over? The contract is the relationship, man. And it's not over until consideration has been given. Okay? Once you make an offer, somebody accepts it, right? You lay out your terms or whatever, but the terms are in the offer. You offer, you accept it, you exchange consideration, and during the performance of that, there's still a contractual relationship in rip the paper for 9. Yeah, dog, whatever, man. You're a moron. It's hard to explain stuff to people that are morons. I'm disappointed in you, macro. I shake my head in shame. And you should, because he's not very bright, man. Because, and here's not the bright. Not being bright doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you understand what I'm saying. Not being bright, the reason I'm saying you're not very bright is because you won't admit that you don't know. If I had somebody like Nazim Richardson here talking about boxing and throwing punches and all, I'll be like, hey, man, I shut up and listen. How am I going to tell you whether or not you need to pull your hand back, whether you should leave your jab out there as a straight arm or not, and when the best circumstance to do it, and how you fight southpaws and all that crap? Come on, man. Just stop. Anyway, it was fun smacking you up because I like to talk about these things. And this is just information that you can look up if you want. You can look up if you want. But sign up to the Patreon, dog. Y'all are way over your pay grade in this one. Y'all way over your pay grade in this one. Okay? I actually got one I got to write soon. I said, Kingsley said, I'm learning here and sharing this knowledge with my colleagues here. Thanks. Hey, no worries. Yeah, man. And look, if you just listen to it and you look up the terms and you deal with, it's very basic. It's very basic info. I'm not getting into like conflicts of law or, issues of damages, because damages are in there too. So none of this, what are you going to sue somebody for if you can't show any harm? You know what I mean? And when you go after somebody, what are you going to ask for? Are you going to ask for reliance? Or are you going to ask for restitution? What's your basis of you claiming something? Is it reliance? Is it restitution? Is it expectation? Are you asking for punitive damages? All of that type of stuff, dude. But it's stuff that you really do already know. It's just the verbiage behind it. But just stop. Okay? Stop. And if you can't, and if you do not have the power to defend yourself, it's all worthless. Okay? It's all worthless. Because you ever heard no harm, no foul? He said, Mississippi King, Eddie gonna mess around and come up missing for 9. Oh, playing with them cats and DAZN's money, they might. If he don't show up with this, if he don't show up with AJ's, if he don't show up with them belts, they may be like, look, man, we spent a lot of money in reliance on you making this fight. Oh, well, hey, man, how much is that? Well, I need everything I spent. Okay? Anyway, it is what it is, man. Oh, man, Macro, the smartest dumbass in his family. It is what it is, homie. It is what it is, man. I got to get out of here, though, man. I did a video on this on Patreon. So you guys check out my Patreon. It's out there on my Patreon. For the patrons, it's out there, man. I said, hilarious. Everyone just ganged up on Macro. I feel sorry for him now. Hey, man, that's because they come out here starting nonsense. And he's probably the same dude we kicked out before, man. We're probably the same dude we kicked out before. Whatever, man. But I don't know the short answer to it is, I don't know what that agreement says. I ain't read it. If it reads it, then I can be like, oh, okay, this is how we get out of it. Because I always walk into agreements knowing how I get out of it. Like, that's my thing. That's my specialty. Like, one thing I know for sure is but they got guys that are tricky. Like tricky. Man, this guy tried to pull some shit on me, man. Like, there's like tricky dudes, man. There's something called an indemnification clause, right? Where you basically hold harmless. People call it hold harmless. Where if we do something together and something goes wrong, somebody gets hurt, you agree to protect me, right? Because I'm doing it for you, so you're going to protect me. You're going to hold me harmless for some damage as a result as it, right? So this guy was like, they had that in there, had a hold harmless or an indemnification requirement in the agreement where they said that they would defend the people that I was dealing with, all my people. They were going to defend my people if something happened. But then they turned around and then required us to get insurance and name them on our insurance. So all that meant was that if we were sued, we would have to pay ourselves with our insurance. We bought insurance for them to indemnify and protect us. I was like, what? Y'all, so you promise you're going to defend me as long as I get insurance that will pay for you to defend me, and I got to pay the insurance premiums? Wow. I'm trying to tell you, man, I speak snake. I speak snake. And don't you ever tell me about Eddie Hearn, preaching to me about the morality. We now know what type of person Fanon is. Fanon is a sneaky devil. Yeah, I am. Yeah. And we have no qualms about telling you, dude. You ain't get out of there. I want to get out. We're in an agreement. I need to know how to get out the door. I ain't sneaky because I want to know where the door is. You kidding me? Yeah, you're sneaky. I'm sneaky for telling somebody how to get out of the door. Hey, Andy, get out of the door that way. The house is burning down. I'm going to lose all my money. They're going to set me up. Really? Let me read. Oh, that says May. Okay, get out. But the contract is locked down. It's locked down. Okay, yeah, it's locked down. Do you think these Mexican people are going to still want to see your next fight? Oh, yeah, Vatos. Yeah, I'm sorry. They don't be insulting when I do the accent. But yeah, my homies, yeah, they're going to watch all my fights. I'm a fucking superstar. Oh, you a superstar? Hey, then go take yourself down to calm down. Nah, man, DZE, get out of here, man. I'll block you myself. Don't tell me to calm down. We don't do that. Get out of here. I'll put you on. Now I'm throwing you straight out. Get out of here, dog. Anyway, and I'm wrong for telling the dude where the door is, dog. Come on, man. Hey, I'm asking you straight quiz, Andy. Do you think your fights are going to sell out in LA? Do you think these Mexicans in Mexico are going to support you regardless now that you're the first Mexican heavyweight champion? If the answer is yes, then you have all the leverage in the world you need. If your people support you, you have all the leverage you need over the zone, over Eddie Hearn, over the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, all of them. If your people will support you and come out in droves to watch your fight, it doesn't matter what Eddie Hearn says. It doesn't matter what the IBF says. Those belts don't matter anymore. And I'll prove it to you. If Muhammad Ali was reincarnated and jumped on this planet right now and said, I got to fight on Friday night, that shit's going to be packed. And you don't need Eddie Hearn, the zone, none of them people to come. People are going to come and support him. Because at the end of the day, it's about that money. And they're trying to get a bunch of money through boxing. If you have the support of your Mexican fans, your Mexican people, that's all you need, dog. That's all you need. That's what Eddie Hearn's after. That's the leverage. That's your bargaining power. I'm the first Mexican heavyweight ever. Okay? And my people love me and they want to see me fight. So if you want me to leave my people and go over there, dude, you're going to have to pay me, or I'm just going to stay with my people and you can have the belts. I don't want to lose the belts. I'd love to keep the belts. But I got to give them up, man, because I don't think you're being fair to me. And I don't trust you. And we all know that the essence of a successful relationship is trust and honesty and forthrightness. Okay? Even if you're not going to tell me everything that you know on your side, you're not going to lie to me. You're not going to bully me. Okay? Because you don't have the leverage to do it. I have the leverage. And I love when Shelly Finkel said something on the Boxing Voice, man. Shelly Finkel said this on the Boxing Voice. When somebody had shout out to the Boxing Voice, they asked, and this was so true. When they said that AJ, they asked, does AJ has the leverage? And Shelly Finkel said, no, he doesn't. Nobody has leverage if you say no. If you say no and you walk away, that all the leverage leaves. All this talk about the A side with Deontay Wilder, and Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder showed you that it wasn't true because he walked away. When he walked away, all the leverage, all the horses, King's horses, and all the King's men, and all the King's marketing agents, and all that didn't matter because Deontay Wilder has the right to go fight whoever he wants to somewhere else as long as the WBC is okay with it. So all that, it ain't no A side when there is no record. Okay? There is no A side when there is no record. The A side, B side stuff is about a record. Who's the top selling single? And you're just on the album because we need to put something on there. But there is no A side. There is no B side if there is no album. Okay? And that's what y'all forget. There is a walk away. Walking away. What's your walk away? That's that whole thing when I was saying best alternative to a negotiated agreement. What's your walk away? What's the least you're willing to take? Well, man, I'm not willing to do anything less than this. Well, then you know. And as long as you're willing to stick with your walk away, you're good. But don't enter into negotiation with nobody if you're not going to stand up to your walk away. That's your backbone. And that's one of the risks with going too high with a negotiation. Because the higher you went, the more you're willing to settle, the less likelihood people are going to believe that you're going to walk away from that table. So, Wilder White, how do I see that going on with White unconscious? I see Dillian White very, very unconscious. And the only question is he going to get pummeled with 4 or 5 of them? Or is he going to go down straight? I don't think he's got a snowball's chance in hell against Deontay Wilder. He's too open. He's too easy to hit. And Joseph Parker put him on his backside. And Anthony Joshua knocked him out. Deontay Wilder he's much more experienced. He's been fighting better competition. And it's just going to maybe a round. I think it'll go a lot like the Dominic Brazil fight. That's what I think. But I thought the AJ fight would go against the Dominic Brazil fight. And the only reason that Tyson Fury doesn't go like the Dominic Brazil fight is because he's 6'9". If he was 6'6", that would go like Dominic Brazil too. Deontay Wilder had to find that range up there. But I think he found it, But look, man, hey, Vulcan has said, what's good, brother? And the chat, man, I appreciate you, man. Let me thank you so much. I'm all good. Just having fun. Talking this smack about stuff that I do know. Okay, so get up off me, man, and go check me. If you don't believe that I know what I'm talking about, just go find somebody that knows what they're talking about and ask them if I'm lying. That's easy. However, since we've had many people on here who have been counsel, who have come on here, who do negotiate for a living, that they do tell you, I am telling you I'm telling you the truth. And common sense should tell you I'm telling you the truth. Because you know damn well, if you're trying to kick it with a chick and you say, let's go to a party, let's have a good time, and she said no, then do what you're going to do. It's over. The answer is no. You could have all the money in the world. You could have all the jewels in the world. You could think you're the best looking dude in the world. But if that chick tells you to kick rocks, then you got to kick rocks, dog. Period. All the good things that you have that you bring to that negotiation means nothing if she says no. Period. Point blank, period. Beeb's a good dude. That's what's up. I wasn't crapping on that dude. If they want to know the answer to the question, I give them the answer to the question. I gave a very long explanation to it too. And I want people to know it. Just know and understand it. I'm not lying to you. That's common sense. That's just information. And record executives understand it. People are trying to sign your publishing rights. But you got to understand what some of this stuff is, man. Which is why Michael Jackson was so wealthy. Because somebody explained him what publishing rights are. What are publishing rights for boxers? Say, for example, this is another one, man. What if Andy Ruiz says, yeah, I'll take the deal, but I need all the replay rights. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll take the rematch, but I want all the replay. I want all the licensing. I want the licensing rights. Was that in the negotiation? Was that in the rematch clause? Who gets to own the actual taping of the fight afterwards? He could say, hey, man, I need to own my own likeness in my name, and any use of this, I got to get paid for. Which means any pay-per-view you got over there in the UK, you can't even show the shit unless you pay me. Did he put that in a rematch clause? I don't know. You know? He could have, but I don't know. I would suspect if they were real thorough, they did. But again, he can walk off. Why y'all in the chat, White ain't hitting on nothing, man. They just trying to find some way. Oh, Sal Shea said, for nine, you hear Jonathan Banks? He said Wilder getting better and better with that power. He's going to be unstoppable. Dude, I watched that Luis Ortiz fight again. Dog, that's a damn good fighter. That dude is a damn good fighter. That Luis Ortiz fight, that dude showed he was a good fighter. Very patient. Takes a good shot. I mean, takes a very good shot. Got a chin. Oh, man, he's a good fight. Michael Johnson, Boxing Talk More, said White throws blatant windmills all day long in the fight. He's going to go to sleep, man. And his head is right there to be hit. For nine, I would like to come to you in day legal advice. I'm not going to give anybody legal advice. I want to be very, very cute. I'm going to be very, very clear. I am not giving anybody legal advice. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm not telling you what the law is. I'm not telling you that. I'm just giving you information that you can double check. And I'm giving you my thoughts and opinion on what it means. I'm not going to advise you about what to do. As far as that, you need to go find somebody that a licensed attorney in your area to look at your specific situation and advise you what to do. I wouldn't do that. And I do believe that just like with boxers, you need to find somebody that is an attorney or somebody that is very well versed on the situation in the jurisdiction that you're from, on the subject matter that you're from. But when you have a general understanding of what's going on, it empowers you in the conversations with them, right? Like I got a friend that's a doctor. One of my best friends is a doctor. And I call him and I say, man, look, man, I feel this. I'm feeling this way. What could that mean? And he'll say X, Y, Z. He'll ask me some questions. And then I'll say, well, should I go see a doctor? He's like, yeah, you need to go see the doctor. And then when you go to the doctor, they're going to say these things to you. So you know this is the process that they're going to lead through. So when I go, then I know what I have. I have some information. I feel empowered because somebody that is educated on the subject got me a baseline understanding. So only thing that I would ever do, and I want to be very clear on this, the only thing that I would ever do is give you a baseline, give you my baseline understanding of something. But you always need to go seek counsel. If you seek a consultant who is a specialist in that area. You know what I mean? Because I might not know what the best practices are related to a certain thing, or what somebody's leverage is related to something, or what the standard going price is for something. So somebody like Shelly Finkel could tell you what the going rate is for a percentage split on a boxing match, you know, because he has that experience with it. I just want to always, if you ever listen to me, I want to be very clear with that, because I don't ever want to lead somebody down a path that they shouldn't go when you could, but it will empower you to know what to ask for. Ask for audits, right? You should always have the ability to audit, but that's not just opinion. Just always have the ability to audit, right? Know what everything that you're agreeing to, you should understand it. And ask a couple basic questions about it. Make them explain to you what it means. Always know how you can get out. How can I get out? How did I get into this? How do I get out of this? If I get out of this, what could I be responsible for if I get out of this? Anyway, you know. Michael Johnson, too late. You already took my dollar. You my no, I'm not. Thank you. Don't do that to me, dog. I ain't doing that. I am not doing that because you're in a different jurisdiction from me. And I'm not going to ever do that. Very clear disclaimer on this information. Very clear disclaimer on this information. Oh, Buddy Lee said, I've been in and out of courts. It's not good to use legal advice from another. No, it's you never do. You got to know ever, because it's New York. So the question is it where'd the fight take place? Is it in New York? Where'd the contract get signed? Did they agree to where the adjudication was going to be? All that type of stuff. I don't know, because I didn't see the agreement. And even if I saw the agreement, I would still say, you know what I mean? Hey, what's my name? Get out of here, man. My name is Fanon International Boxing Channel, dude. Fuck's wrong with you? My name is a boxing fan that ain't. Nigga, what the fuck, you trying to have dinner or something? Skills from New Orleans. I don't know a thing about a guy he's fighting, but I wouldn't argue with you. I saw too many from the LDBC saying AJ was getting knocked out, and we all know what happened. Yeah, pretty much, dog. Yeah, man, get out of dudes asking, what's your name? What's your phone number? Dog, get out of here, man. I'm some dude on the internet that you need to go seek your own information on. I just told you what I thought. That's it. But look, man, I got to get up out of here. Fury was 70% in his first fight. Imagine him now? No. Why would I imagine him? He was 100% unconscious. So even at 100%, he'd still been 100% unconscious. What, do you think he's going to take a better punch? The dude was unconscious. That dude trained for a year for that fight, dog. Come on, man. Always trying. I ain't guessing none of that. Guessing none of that. What is this? Oh, that's not me. All right, man. Is this a legal channel or it's a boxing channel? We talking about boxing. This whole conversation's been boxing. Skills from New Orleans. It's boxing. Everything I've talked about has been boxing. Completely boxing. Oh, said B. Hour said I was out of the fight. He was out for longer than 10 minutes. Anyway, whatever. Hey, man, look, I got to get out of here. I'm late on KQKC's channel. Oh, and I got to go. And I'm out. Peace.